Do you have a little one? I do. He is 7 years old and he's called Noah. And I think it's really important to teach children manners and etiquette from a young age. Not because they have to use it, but because it gives them experience and life skills if they ever find themselves into different situations and need to behave differently. Why do we follow etiquette? Well, because it's polite, and because if you find yourself in different cultural settings or situations, it's important that you don't upset or offend anyone. So what should you look for when you're teaching a little one about manners and etiquette? Of course, dependent on the child's age. You know, if they're under 2, it's going to probably be a bit of an uphill struggle. But my son is 7. So as long as I've known him to sit at the dining table and eat food, which has been for quite a long time, I have reinforced rules. Now, I start with one rule and I introduce it and I keep going with that for the next couple of months. There's no point overloading a child with loads of information because they're just going to forget and they're going to get irritable and it's not going to work. So my first rule for Noah was, when you are seated at the dining table, we sit politely, respectful to the food that has been made for you. So my son had a tendency to put his feet up on the chair, squiggle around, sit backwards. And so what I do is I reinforce that this is, in fact, not great for digestion, but also impolite to the diners around him and the person who's cooked the food. So I say to him, Noah, please sit nicely at the table, face your food, feet down. I think it's very important for a child to learn to be respectful to those around them, the host of the dining situation. That could be their parents, their parent, or a guardian. And when you finish the meal, it's important, if that child wants to get down and go and play, that they ask to be excused. So I would encourage Noah to turn to me, to his father, to whomever is hosting the dinner, to say, thank you very much for the meal. Please may I be excused. Now, it's really important, and this is something I reinforce, is that Noah doesn't get down before his peers. So if there are other children at the table still eating, I would say to Noah, wait for your friend Harry to finish his meal, and then you two can both get down together. And this is just a little bit of respect that's being taught, manners, politeness, and this will take him a long way as he gets older. You may have seen one of my videos about chewing with your mouth closed. It's a big thing. So I reinforce this rule to him: chew with your mouth closed. If someone asks you a question and you haven't finished, pause, wait, and then speak once you've swallowed. It's a really simple technique to teach a child, sometimes hard for them to grasp because they get excited and want to talk, but it's really important to reinforce why it's polite, because no one wants to see the contents of someone else's mouth. I also teach my son to be really respectful about the food. Now, little ones have a more basic palate. They typically don't like strong tastes, spices, etc. But as they get older, it's important that they explore different tastes. So the rule in my household is that he tries it once. And if he hasn't tried it for a long time, he tries it again, because tastes change. And no matter what his opinion, if he doesn't like something, he can say, thank you, that's not for me, but he shouldn't remark poorly about the food. There is nothing worse than hearing a diner of any age remark and say the food is disgusting or gross. Firstly, it's an insult to the person who's cooked it, and secondly, it's rude to anyone who is actually enjoying it. So I encourage Noah to say, thank you, I'm not that keen, or mummy, I don't really like it. Absolutely fine to be honest and not to keep eating, but to try it at least once. With conversations around the dinner table, I encourage Noah to speak politely. And certain conversations, he's a little boy, so he likes to talk about poo quite a lot. Don't know why. It shouldn't be discussed at the dinner table. You know, bodily functions, pooing, vomit, all of that kind of thing shouldn't be talked about at the table, no matter how funny it might be. So if he or his friends bring it up at the dinner table, I politely remind him, Noah, this is not a conversation for around the dinner table. Why? Because you're going to put other people off their food, and that's not nice. As Noah's getting older, I don't let him have tablets at the dinner table. When he was younger and his concentration span was very short, I did, because I wanted to get through, you know, a 20-minute meal without him dashing off, particularly if we were eating out in a restaurant. But now he's older, I don't allow tablets or phones at the dinner table because I want him to engage in conversation with the people around him. That's how we learn how to communicate, that art of conversation, and it starts at a young age. So it can be tricky, and I know because I have used tablets and still do on travel or when Noah's very tired and we just need him to be still for a while. If you can avoid using tablets and phones at the dinner table and encourage the child to communicate and speak and not be glued to the screen, that's a really good lesson to teach them. I think we can all learn from that, right? We should all put our phones down at the dinner table. Rome wasn't built in a day. So with children, repetition, keep reinforcing with positive reinforcement, and eventually they will learn. Adults can learn too. So if you have a friend that needs to learn etiquette, why not tag them in this video? Lead by example. I hope this has helped. If you've got any other tips or techniques you like to use with little ones, I'd love to know.